There are multiple compilers which you can do on online. Maybe you can go to your Google Chrome and search for it. So right now I'm opening one, so it's taking a little bit of time, but usually you can use any of the online compiler, not just the one which I've opened. So you can go to this, maybe there is one more here, there's one more here. Yeah, so here it open. Uh, I'll share this link. Yeah, even Jupyter is okay. So I'll be teaching you on Jupyter only because that is much comfortable for teaching purposes, so that you can see the response here then and there itself. So I'll be teaching on Jupyter, but it's your wish. You can do it using any IDE, VS Code or something. Yeah, so for everybody who doesn't have laptop or mobile application which already installed, go to this particular link which I gave you. So as soon as you go there, you can see something like this. So if you are able to open this one, so here you can see, you can write a code here, what all the Python related code, and on click of run, that particular program will execute. So based on that, we can discuss how we how we can go forward. Can you guys open that page? I already gave you a few links yesterday uh, to install Python on your system. There's not much thing which you need to do. So go to uh, this particular link, and here you can see all the list of Python packages. From here, maybe you can download 3.9 or 3.10. So I suggest you to download 3.9, which 3.9.10, which I'm using right now. So that's the LTS version which I'm using. You can go there and download Windows installer 64-bit or 32-bit based upon your system configuration. So I think 64-bit would be sufficient for everybody. So go here and download 64-bit and install it. So you don't need to do much of that. It will just an option you get to install directly from step by step and things. Okay, I'll also guide you guys to install right away. So please make it fast. So go to this particular link. The link, I'll share it on the chat as well. So this is the link which you can use. Click on that link and you will be getting Python multiple versions. You can go to you can go to 3.9.10, which is the version which I'm using right now, which has stability on using it. And you can go here and download Windows installer 64-bit, and you can use it. So as I already have it, I am not downloading it again. I want you guys to click on that link and download it. Please let me know. Hope you guys can download it or not. I want everybody to download it and check whether you have Python or not. So by going to your command prompt and type Python 3. There you can see a Python version, what kind of version or which version you downloaded. If you are able to get this part, then that means you have installed Python successfully on your system. So then we are good to go, and we can start our programming on Python, and we can have hands-on experience on Python. So I gave alternatives for you can open on this, or maybe you can open any Android application or iOS application which has Python in it. So one mobile application is PyDroid or something on Android. Maybe you can check with those, or maybe if you don't have mobile application as well, you can go to this online browser where you can do all the Python programming. This for temporary purpose. I want you guys to do it on laptops so that it would be much convenient for you guys to understand and code better way. So for temporarily initially you can use these links, but I want you guys to install Python on your laptops. I'll give you 5 more minutes. So everybody who didn't install Python on your system, please install it. So maybe after a couple of minutes, we'll discuss if anybody has any problem or who doesn't have any alternative at all. So based on that, we can see. So please, everybody, please install it. Install Python on your system. Also, please confirm whether you are able to open that link. The people who doesn't have any Python installed on the system. Yes, you can use PyCharm as well. In the end, you need Python. It doesn't matter what ID you are using. Also, people who already have their things, you can already install Python. You can use any of the IDE. Maybe you have Notepad, Notepad++, VS Code, and PyCharm. This all the things are IDE which we use to basically edit or basically develop any kind of program. So these kind of IDEs will give some benefits. So it will give you errors for indentation and things, and it will give some specific information that how exactly you can code. Even if you are making any few mistakes, it's gonna suggest and tell you that these kind of mistakes are there. So I personally use VS Code to code on any of the things, even on Python or even on JavaScript and things. I use VS Code. That's much comfortable for me. Even it depends upon you guys. It's according to your comfort, which ID you want to use. I guess everybody had downloaded. So please let me know if anybody who didn't install or who doesn't have Python anywhere. And I gave a link above, and you can open that link as well parallelly while I'm saying. You can do it on the other Chrome tab or something, so that we can uh, do programming parallelly while I'm saying it. So please let me know if someone who doesn't have anything at all. I hope everybody has Python or alternatives which we can use. You want some more time to install it, or can we go forward? I think we have lots of time spent on installation and finding alternatives. I'll just wait for you guys to tell whether can we go forward or not. I want response from you guys. Please respond whether we have to go forward, or do you have someone? There is no much process which is there to install it here. Even if people are taking some time to install it, you can use the above link which I gave you for today. So here today we'll be discussing very small things. So it's okay for you guys even doesn't have Python on your system. So you can use that online compiler, Python compiler, which I gave you. So that would be sufficient for today. So I want you guys to use it for today. We already have wasted lots of time on deciding and seeing Python install on your system or not. So we'll go forward and we'll start little on Python programming. So as everybody, uh, people who have programming knowledge on some other language as well. So every language file will have a particular extension. So extension basically mean for all your images which you take, it has dot png or dot jpg. So all these are extensions. These extensions basically will define what kind of particular file it is. So the computer does know that this particular file is an image, or this particular file is a video, or if you are doing any programming, so this particular file consists of C programming. So you have .c and .java, and in the parallelly we have .py Python. So Python will have .py extension, and you can use it accordingly and create any files using .py extension. So before going on that one, so you everybody you can check on Python 3 and just type out Python 3 on your system and check whether you have installed Python or not on your systems. Who had already installed Python on their system, you can check. So if everything is working fine, we'll create one Python file in our system. So so here we are opening, we are trying to create a new file here. So here I'm creating a new file on the name of maybe dash1, and here you can see all the extensions which you can use. So here we have lots of extensions which we can use. Right now we need Python. So here you can see Python extension which will create on the .py. So here you can see, and my browser, my IDE which I'm using is VS Code. It automatically detected that it's a Python. So it's the logo of Python, and we have a Python file right now which is already there. So I want everybody to create one Python file like this, and whether you are getting it or not. Please create a Python file, everybody from your side. Please let me know if you have any issues on creating Python files. I want a response from you guys. See whether you are able to create Python files or not. Please respond to that so that we can go forward. I want most of the people. So I think there are only 3 responses. I want many responses. So I want everybody to be interactive so that we are good or not. If anybody has issues, at least let me know whether creating any Python file is difficult for you so that I can clear it out. So if not, we can go forward. Let me know if you have any difficulties creating Python file. Okay, so I'll create one more file again. So here I have already one file. I think it's on another location anyway. So here you can see, you don't need to particularly go to any VS Code. Maybe I'll try to do it from here. Maybe you can go to your system and click on right click, and if you here you will get an option to new. So here you search for text document. So here you are having text document here, and maybe open class.1. So here you will have an extension of text document itself. You need to convert it to Python. So here it's little difficult to convert it to Python right away here. So I'm opening this thing on VS Code or any IDE you can choose to create any Python file, not just this one. So you can also try using any notepads as well. If you want to open on any notepad, you can directly go to your desktop and here is your class one. So it will open, and if you want to save it, right now it's already saved. So here this is a text document. I'm going in a notepad manner. So if you want to change this text document to Python extension, press Control Shift S. Basically save as. If you're not able to find it from here, here you can find Control Save as, Control Shift S. So it will save as. Here it's text document right now. So by changing the name itself, you can directly have that flexibility to do it. So usually Notepad doesn't have that option to change the extension of a file. So that's why you'll have the flexibility on Notepad++. So you can use those things. So I want you guys to open your files like this and create an extension file. I think it's okay. Can you guys able to create a Python extension? Okay, create a Python file. Please let me know if you have any difficulties on creating Python file. So even if you have any difficulties right now, so we'll go forward and you can use the above link which I shared you. For now, you do some programming on there itself. So here is your Python file right now. We'll see how can we run a particular Python file. So how can we write anything or how can we execute this particular file. So in those terms, you can go to command prompt and you have to go to that particular location. I don't know where it's I think it's in some other place. I'll create a new file on desktop. Maybe so if you have to run any Python file, you just need to type Python 3. So right now I hope everybody is using Python 3. So Python 3 and your file name. So class1.py is a file name which I created right now. So if you have to execute one particular Python file, you just type Python 3 and your class name and make sure that you have to be in the right path of this file. So as soon as you put Python 3 class1.py and enter, so I'm not getting anything here because I didn't write anything. I didn't write any program over here. So that's the reason why you're not getting any Python program result and everything. So after creating the Python file, I want you guys to execute that particular Python file. So if you guys are able to execute this one, and you shouldn't get anything because we didn't write anything. So if you are able to get this, we are good. So we can go forward. So please let me know whether you guys can execute a Python file or not. Please check and let me know if you find any problem on executing a file. Please let me know. Okay, so I'll do it once again from creation of file Python file and executing it again. I don't have it anything right now here. So right now I'm creating a new file. So this is a new file, and I want to create a desktop location on the name of class1. And here I'm having lots of extensions, and I'm choosing Python over here. So class1.py will be the file name right now. So here you can see here it's this particular file is in this location, users and my user and desktop. So it's in desktop location. So here you can see there's a Python file which is there on desktop as well. Here, this is the Python file which we just created. In this file, we can do all the execution and things. So if you want to execute, you can, for people who are using VS Code, you can directly click on terminal above, a new terminal. So here you can see what is the location over here, and I want you guys to go to that location. So to go to that particular location from your terminal, you need to use CD. CD basically means change directory. So from your base location, this is your base location of your command prompt. You can check for, as soon as you put ls, you'll have a list of things, what all things are there in your system. So even if you are doing it from here, you won't have ls. You can put dir, which is directory information. So in this your directory, you have desktop, documents, and downloads. So these three are the common things which we use to store any files: desktop, documents, and downloads. Right now I have it in desktop. I'm going into desktop. CD is basically change directory. So everything is a directory. Desktop is a directory, document is a directory, downloads a directory. So in our terms, we call it as folders. Desktop it is folder. In on programming term, it's a directory. So we are going into a directory called desktop. So CD desktop, it go inside this. So right now I'm inside desktop. So here I'll see what kind of files are there. Dir, I have multiple files in it. I want to open class1.py from it. I want to execute this particular file from it. So if I have to execute one particular Python file, just put Python 3 class1, whatever the file name it is, .py. So this is how I executed that particular Python file. I executed it, but I didn't get any response over here because I didn't write any code. I want you guys to create this particular Python file and run this using this command. So whatever your file name, and Python 3 will be your command which to execute a Python file. So Python 3 space and your file name. So you will be getting an empty line like this, which means that you don't have anything in your Python program right now. You are not executing anything. Is it? I think it's helpful for you guys. Please let me know if you feel any uncomfortable on running or executing any Python file. I hope everybody able to create and execute it. So here you can see there are different directories which you go, but right now I'm on C directory. If you want to go a little back, you can use cd chain directory dot which will go little back. So you need to open the Python file which you created. So that's the main thing which you need to do. So open your Python first, create your Python file, and execute that particular Python file, whether you are able to do it or not. If you want to go to inside D drive, so you need to go a little back over there, and here you need to see lots of things. I want you guys to create your Python files inside your desktop or documents or downloads. So it would be much easier for you guys to do all these programming things, even going from here to that location. So don't put any of in other drives or something. Use C drive which has documents in it, or downloads in it, or maybe in
Color
desktop.
side కి వేసుకుంటారు
So please open your Python files and execute those Python files by going to that particular location. Everybody, maybe it's feasible for you to install or create your Python file on your desktop location. So what is the problem you are facing? What you are not getting it? So first create your Python file. So whatever the Python file is it problem for you to create Python files? So don't follow Visual Studio. I won't follow Visual Studio format. So you can, what is the command to change directly from C to D in command prompt, because I'm saving Python files in D. So that's why I told you to create on C drive itself. Don't go to D drive or something, because from here you need to go again, and finding D drive location is little difficult. So try to do it on desktop or maybe any documents. So all this information, it's better to keep it on documents. So even I do all these things from doing it from document. Do it from document. It's for easy for you guys to, and reuse it again, even if you have to open or run it again. So create your files in desktop or on documents for now. So later you will have understanding that where you can create your files. So if people who was having little difficult for you to rename it, changing it to Python extension, you can directly maybe do it from here. I think you can't do like that, but changing the extension like this will basically create one Python file. So after, so this is not for the people who are using this particular one. So this is already, everything is done. So I'm telling for the people who are trying to use Python from their system. So I want you guys to create one particular file, not from here. So if you already have a Python file, so the people who are using this one, you don't need to do anything. So we'll start programming on that one. So the people who are using or creating files on their system, I want you guys to create a Python Python file in any of your desktop or maybe documents or things. So even on desktop, you don't need to do much. I think you guys can see my screen, right? Go to here, click on file. So on top, you will have an option for file. On click of new file, which is on there on top, click on new file. So here you can see there is a file which is created and you have to save it. So just go to file over here again, and there is an option called save. So click on save here. So once this is open, you can create as one. So this is a file name which you are creating, and first setting the extension, you have below options here to set it, what type of extension you want. So there are multiple languages here. You can see PHP, Ruby, Rush, CSS, SQL, Shift, and XML. In the same way, we need Python. So we have also Java here, JavaScript here, HTML here. So we choose Python over here. So Python will create one extension which is on Python. So here you have a Python file right now, which is class 1.1, which is one I created, but you can create any other file name so that you can create it. And if you want to execute that particular Python file, you can go to that particular location. So to go to that, so every time you open any command prompt, this will be your default location. So that's why I want you guys to create your files on your C directory, maybe on desktop or documents or things, so that it would be easier for you to go back to the directory every time. So create in your desktop for now. So later you will understand and create on other location. Create on desktop. After creating on desktop, go to your terminal and just press CD and desktop. So DESKTOP. That's all. And press enter. You are in desktop directory right now. So on your desktop directory, we have this class11.py. So to run that particular file, we'll use this command Python 3 and class underscore what is the file name it is file name.py. So this will particularly execute that particular Python file. So the people who are having this, who open this one, you don't need to do anything. So this is an online compiler which already have a Python file on their website. So you can directly use this one. I'm telling for the people who are trying to do it from their system. Even for people who are doing from on any of your mobile application, Android or iOS, even you don't need to create a file. I guess I don't have much idea on that one doing on mobile phones, but this is how you do it. So we will see how exactly a Python or how exactly this will work in Python. So we'll start with printing something on on Python. So printing, C we have printf, and for Java we have in and out to take and print something. So on Python we have print. So just data. So for every data which we are passing, we need to put in quotes, single quotes, double quotes. We need to pass some data. So here we can write. It's pretty simple. You just need to write print. So what we need to print. So right now we are passing a data over here. So you have to put in double quotes. You don't need any semicolons here on Python. So here you can see red color mark because we usually on IDEs we get this warnings that you can't use semicolons. On Python we don't have any semicolons at all. You don't need to use semicolons and things. So this is the thing which I just written. So instead of, if you are trying to execute it right now, so before when we try to execute that one, so we didn't get anything because we don't have anything. So right now we wrote some small one line of program. So if you want this to be executed, so just run that command again, Python 3, whatever the file name it is, and you will get hello world. Because the thing which we wrote is people who are doing it. Is my voice fine now or is it still breaking? So you guys also, you can use this one. So here also you can type print hello world in your double quotes and just click on run. So as soon as you click on run, you will get the output here on the right side. So whatever the thing which you are writing over here, on clicking on run, it will execute and show you the result. So here it's showing the result of hello world. So I hope you guys, the people who are working or trying to do it on this particular URL, you can check this one. You should be getting this one by writing this particular code. My voice is still breaking. Give me a second. Is it fine now? Is it still breaking or is there any disturbance from my side? I hope it should be good now. Okay, so the people who are trying to use it from here, so you can directly use this particular programming line to display any information. So right now we want to display hello world. So every information you want to show it on your terminal after executing it, you need to put it in print. So you can use single quotes or you can use double quotes to show information, anything. So here, this is class 1. This class 1 of Python programming. So here you are getting all the information which we are typing. We are doing the same thing here as well. So from now on, I won't be showing the same thing over here on desktop or in your browser, which I gave you, which is basically the same information which I am doing. So here you have a Python file. The file is name is main.py. You don't need to do anything here. The people who are doing it from here, you can directly write it and run it. So here also you can write the same thing. And if you want to save it, just on your browser, you don't need to save it. It will directly automatically save it, and as soon as you click on run, it will run it. But on your system, you need to save before running any program. So right now I typed it, but I didn't save it. So if you execute it, you will get only hello world because I didn't save this particular file. You need to save it. For saving it, usually everywhere to save any file, you need to press Ctrl S. Or for any of people who are having Mac, it's Command S. So you can press Command S for saving. For people who are using Windows or Ubuntu, you can use Ctrl S to save your program. So as soon as I save it, this particular file is having accessibility of this particular line, which we already saved it. So here you are getting that particular line, whatever the line which we wrote. So every time you are executing it. I hope you guys are able to print things or print information like that. Please let me know if you are facing some issue on printing something or executing Python files. Please make sure you create your Python files in your C directory, maybe on desktop documents or downloads. It is much feasible. It's much easy for you guys to access it as soon as you open it. Because every time you open any command prompt, it will open on C itself, which has users and this. From here, you can directly go to, by using CD, you can change directly from here to desktop. And right now you are in desktop like that. So it's easy for you guys to go to in that particular location. So try it on desktop or documents or downloads. If you ask me, do it on documents, not on desktop. So you can save all the information on your documents and create a Python file over there. So if you want to go to some other directories, it would be much difficult for you guys. So here there is lots of information. So from here we are going to users, and this is my user. So it will open this one, this particular one. Every time you open a command prompt, this is the thing which will, this is the directory it will open. So from here we will go to desktop. So this is the desktop, all the data which we have, which we are seeing over here on the desktop is the same thing which we are seeing here. So everybody create Python files on your desktop or documents and things. So it would be easier for you guys to run any programming files. I hope everybody are able to create and execute Python files. If you guys are really facing some problem, please let me know on creating and executing it. People who are doing it on from their systems. Who are using this online link, you don't need to create any file, you don't need to do anything. Here you have everything already built, you just need to write the program for temporary purpose. So the people who don't have anything or who are not able to do it, you can just take a note of it, or maybe you can try to do all these things when you have any laptop or any mobile application which has Python in it, so that you can do it at that time. So please take a note that you need to create a file, Python file, which is of .py extension. So every Python file will be of .py extension. You need to take care of that. You need to create files on .py extensions. So please write on the chart whether is it clear till now, or do you want any, or do you have any problem in creating or executing files? Please let me know whether you are able to execute Python files or not. Please, I want more responses as well. So people who are having issues, please add it on the chat that you are having or you are facing difficulty on creating Python files and executing. Are you guys able to execute Python file, and are you guys able to see the response which you are creating on Python on terminal below, like hello world and this classroom program, Python program which I created? Are you guys able to see that? Are you guys able to print it after you executing it or not? Okay, so this is the basic thing. So from here on, we'll be, I won't be telling you how to create a Python file or how to go. So every time I start the class, I'll directly go to that file, or I'll directly open that file. So please make sure that you guys are on the same page, or you should be able to open Python file and execute Python file in the same way. So parallelly, I'll be doing all the classes on Jupyter from now on. So you need to do the same thing which I'm doing. You don't need to use Jupyter. You guys can directly do the same thing on your Python file which you created. So please make sure everybody are able to execute it, or everybody able to run it and get the response. So if you have any doubts, please let me know. If not, we will go forward. Even for people who are thinking that programming is something which is yeah, so right now you can use it. So right now you are using it, but so if you type some program here, and if I refresh it, everything will go off because it won't save information. These were temporary purposes which I am showing you right now, but I want you guys to install on your, yeah, so you install on your system Python on your system, so that from tomorrow it will be easy for you guys also to do it. So maybe I'll explain creation of Python files again tomorrow. So for people who are installing today later on, so installing Python on your laptop and doing this is much easier for you to understand it. So I want everybody, so try to get a laptop in this 2 hour span so that you can learn Python easily instead of doing it from these browsers or from any mobile application and things. So please make sure that try to get a laptop so that it would be. So you can directly go to internet and search. There are lots of links how to install Python on your systems. So you don't need to much of explanation for it. Uh, how to install Python on Windows 10 or maybe whatever the Windows it is. So here you have a list of all the things what you need to do. If you go here, they'll tell you to. So here you can click on it, download for Windows section of the official Python site. So when you open this file, so from here you can see there are lots of Python files. You can go to here and Windows installer 64-bit. You can download this one. So when you click on it, it will install it. So as soon as you install it, just double click on it, it will start installing. So you don't need to do anything apart from that. So after downloading this file, Just double click on it. You'll get a pop-up like this and install it accordingly. So right now I'm already having Python. I'm not doing anything, but you can do in the same way. Just go to this link. I already gave you this link. In the same way for Windows, you can search for other operating systems as well. I think you should be getting it from here somewhere. So here you have Windows and Linux, Mac OS and other. So these are the main things which we use: Windows, Linux and Mac. So for people who are having Mac, just go on to Mac section. And from here you have lots of based on your chip. So you might be having Intel chip. So I think you can use Intel chip for now. Use the link which is there on top. Go to Python 3.9.10 and Mac OS 64-bit Intel only installer. So maybe this is sufficient for you guys to use it. So you can download this one, which is 3.9.10, is the same version which I'm using. So try to install it from here. That's all. You don't need to do anything. As soon as you click on it, so here you have multiple things. And so you can follow this link for people who are using Windows. So you can use this link. So I just opened it here. They will show you how to install it. So this is the same thing which we got. Please make sure you check this box, add Python 3 to path. So path basically means it will add it to your environment path of your entire system so that you can use Python at any place or any point of directory you're using. So you need to add Python to a global path, environment path. So make sure to check these two things and just follow these things. You don't need to do anything. So just check this box and install it and click on this one. You will be able to go forward. So after doing this, that's it. You don't need to do anything. You directly go to your terminal and search for Python 3. You should be getting it. So right now they're having a different version, but as soon as you install it, just put Python 3 and you'll be getting 3.9.10 or whatever the version which you are installing. So you need to do it in this simple way. So here directly go to this link which I gave you, where you can go to so this is the Python official site. So after you going here, you can find all the installation files for MacBook, Windows and everything. So from here, it would be much easier for you guys to understand and download it. So you can follow the above link. So you can follow these two things. There is no much thing for me to explain it in this. It's very easy to install. Just go to this link and get that file. Just follow this link. You'll have each and every information. So this is how we do it. Please make sure to install it tomorrow before we start the class. So I'll tell you how to create Python files and how to run it again tomorrow again. But today we'll try to understand. So here, these are the things which we wrote. So we'll declare variables. So we have to store some information in any of the variables. So right now, on any other languages, if we have to create any variable, you need to declare what kind of variable it is. Whether it is storing numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, or is it storing any string. String basically means the characters which we are typing. So the above thing which is here is a string. So we have to see whether we are putting any information, or we need to declare what kind of information are we trying to put it in that variable. But on Python, you don't need to do anything. Based on the information you give, that particular variable will be molded to that particular data type. If you want to create a variable here, just create one variable of your name. Doesn't matter what name you are using. You can create any name. So, but there are few restrictions to make a variable. So here I'm making a variable as, let's suppose, name. So here I created a name with an empty string. So I'll add one of you guys' name. So maybe so I created a name variable which has name Praveen in it inside it. So here it created a variable which has Praveen name inside it. I want you guys also to do same parallelly that while I'm doing it. So let me know if you're having any issues while I'm doing it. Create a variable and you can execute it again while creating the variable itself. So here you are not getting anything because we are not printing the name itself. Name is a variable, we are not printing name. So we just declare the name variable. So that's why we are not getting anything. If we want to print this particular name, which is a variable, we can write print of name. You might also see that after we printing this particular line, you should be getting Praveen, but we won't get it. Okay. We are getting name because we are giving this particular name as a string, which you are passing inside it. So everything you put inside double quotes, a single quotes, it will act as a string. It will act as a character information which you are trying to pass. If you want to print any variables inside a print, so you just remove the character, both of the exclamation single quotes and double quotes. So this basically are quotes. So these are single quotes. These are double quotes. You need to use these for creating any of any character information. So here we have all string. So if you want to print any variable, just print of name. So here you have name over here, and you can execute this particular file. So here you are getting Praveen because we are not passing the string or data inside. So we are passing a variable to the print. So as soon as you do the print of name, it will print what the data which is there inside the name. So name has Praveen inside it, so it will print Praveen. So my screen is showing blank to me. You guys not able to see my code or see my VS code which I am doing? It is not blank, so just yeah, I'll explain once again, but just make sure that you guys are able to see my screen. So I'm sharing my screen. You should be able to see my screen. I think there's some problem for Praveen. He's not able to see it. Okay, so you guys are able to see it, and we'll proceed from here. So here, before we are trying to print some information. So every characters or every string which you are trying to put, we can directly write in print of any single quotes or double quotes will do. So you can put any string information which inside a print statement with using single quotes or double quotes. So single quote, which is this. So double quotes means this. You will have on your laptop, and even you can see it on your mobile phone as well, where you can directly check this information, check these single quotes and double quotes. Maybe it will be on left of your enter. So there you can see single quotes and double quotes. These will help you to string or basically display the information what exactly you want to. So here I want to display this. So here I'm displaying hello world, and here I'm displaying this particular string. So if you want to print a variable, so you shouldn't put it in a quotes, because if you are putting inside a quote, a single quote or double quote, it will take it as a string. It won't print the data inside a variable. It will that name itself a string which you are trying to print. So if you are trying to print it, without these, it won't show anything. So here you are getting name because you are passing name as a string to print. So you shouldn't pass like that. So if you want to print a variable, so you can directly pass name. Right now, name is a variable without both single quotes or double quotes. So when you are not putting in single quotes or double quotes, that means you are trying to print any variable. So right now, name is a variable which I created. Even above you can see variable which is of name, literal which has the information of Praveen. So this is the information which I try to create it. If you want to print it, print off whatever the variable it is without putting any single quotes or double quotes. No quotes at all. Just print, and you can open bracket, curve bracket left and right. So as soon as you open it, inside that you can put whatever the variable you want to print. So name is the variable which I'm trying to print. So as soon as you put the name, you can save it. So if you want to save it, just press Control S. For Mac OS, you can press Command S. So as soon as you save it, you can execute the Python file. Here you can see Praveen, because we are trying to pass variable here, not the name, not just the string. So as soon as you try to put name, so it will go and check whether what information is there inside a variable. So name is a variable. What is there inside the variable called name? So inside name we have Praveen as a string. So we are passing name to the print, so it will print Praveen. Okay. So here we declared a name like this. So we have few restrictions to create a variable. So you cannot create a variable as you wish. There is few things which you need to follow. So before that, right now we declared a string. So in the same way, you can declare number as well. So if you, we will add roll number. So roll number of Praveen is, let's suppose 45. So we have roll number for Praveen is 45, which is a number right now. This is basically as an integer. So all the numbers which we have is nothing but as an integer of data type in programming. So every programming will have an integer. So on Python we have it as an int. So we'll get to those data types part later, but initially we'll focus on how can we initialize variables. So right now I initialized a variable of roll number. I'll remove this one. So right now I initialize a variable called roll number, which is 45. So I want to print name and roll number together. So here maybe we'll add one. First we'll print separately, then we'll add it. So if you want to print roll number, just go to print and just type roll number inside it. So we are passing this variable reference to this print so that it will go to that particular location and find out what exactly the variable is. What exactly the variable information it has it, and it will print that particular thing. So here we are passing roll number to it. So we are executing that Python file again, which will come as Praveen and 45. So right now we got Praveen before, which we are trying to print here, and roll number here when we are trying to print it. So one important thing in writing any programming on Python is that you need to follow indentation. So indentation basically means if you are trying to write code on any other languages, if you are trying to do it in this way, or maybe some giving irregular spaces, so that everything is not one line. So these two in one line, this in one line, this in one line. You won't get any issues or you won't get any errors when you are doing the same thing on other languages. But on Python, you will be getting it, because if you write it like that, I'm not able to understand clearly what exactly you wrote. So this is what we call readability, better readability on Python based on the indentation we have. So if you're trying to execute this particular program, you will get an error. Indentation error, unexpected indentation, which is at this location. This means that everything which you are writing is not in one line. So everything should be on one block. So right now, all the information which you are trying to write is on one block. So name and print name is on one block. These things also should be on the same block itself. You shouldn't go inside it. So even everything should be on one line. So right now we are not getting any errors. So here there are red color marks which you can see. So that's why we use IDEs which will help you to solve these kind of things right away. So you don't need to execute it. So here itself you can see. So you can save it and you can execute it. So as soon as you execute it, you are getting 45 and Praveen. So I want to print both of it at one time. I don't want to print it separately. So if you want to print it separately together, just type print name and comma roll number. So I want to print name and roll number together in one print itself. So we are trying to print two variables right now. If we have to print two variables at one time, just separate with comma. So name comma roll number. So you don't need to give any space. So name comma roll number you can directly print. So I'll write it once again. Name comma roll number. So as soon as you save it, if you are trying to execute it, you can see Python Praveen 45, Praveen 45 two times if you are trying to print. So here you can print it like that. If you want to add some string to it, add some extra information to it. So let's suppose I want to add my name is Praveen and my roll number is this one. So before going to that, just make sure I just want to make sure that you guys are able to able to execute this particular part of code, creating two variables of name as Praveen or maybe other name and roll number as something else, and you can print or not. So please let me know, is it clear till now or you guys are facing any issues creating variables or printing those variables? Yeah, so please let me know everybody that if anybody is facing some issue, we can clear it out before going forward. I see those common names of 4 or 5, everybody, every time they say they responded. Okay, create a variable of name or something. You can do the same thing on your the link which I shared you also. So here also you can create a variable called name. So here I'm creating a name of again in single quotes. In the same way, you can put last name, which is student, which I'm creating right now. Last name as student, and both are strings. And you can put it in double quotes as well, not just single quote. Strings you can use single quote and double quote to put any information inside it. In the same way, you can add roll number also. Roll number of maybe we are creating 30. So 30 as a roll number for Praveen. And if you want to print all again, you can add name, last name, roll number. And after writing all these things, you can run it. So as soon as you run it, you can see Praveen student 30. So we print all the three information which is there here. So you follow the same thing here also, even if you're not trying to give indentation properly. So here everything is not on one block, everything is not one line. So that's why you're getting indentation error. So everything should be in one line itself, and click on run, you'll be getting Praveen student 30. So I hope everything is clear till now. Are you able to create variables? So if you want, you want everything to be printing on next line. So we'll get to that part. So we'll see how exactly we can print on next line. So before that, we'll discuss what kind of names we can give to variables. We cannot give anything out of nowhere. So there are a few rules that you need to follow before creating any variables. So you can start a variable with any of your character. So A to Z, capital or small, doesn't matter. A to Z, you can start with anything. And you can create a variable. The same way, if you have to create variables on using underscore as first. So underscore name testing. So if I'm adding underscore name as testing, and you can pass in that way as well, that we created a name variable called underscore name, and we'll print that as well. So right now I'm printing underscore name also. I created. If I'm trying to execute it, I'm getting prevent testing 45. All the three variables which I created. And you cannot create a variable which is starting with numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You cannot create like that. Maybe if you are trying to create, say, zero name, so you'll right now you are already seeing red color mark because my IDE will directly find out the issues before running it. So usually you'll throw an error, which is syntax error. So syntax basically means there are rules and regulation which you need to follow while creating any programming language. So if you are getting any syntax error means you're not following those rules. So here we have a rule that we cannot start with numbers for any variables. So if you are starting with variables, so it would be much difficult for you guys to do it. So you will get errors like this. So try to not start with numbers, start with only characters and underscore. If you want to use underscore, you can use underscore. You cannot use hyphens also. Either characters from A to Z or small or capital, doesn't matter. In the same way, you can use underscore as well. This we basically call it as underscores. So you can use underscore also. That's when we are starting any variable. So we can have numbers inside after a variable. So as soon as you create n is a character. So you can write 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't matter whatever the information which you are. So you can use numbers inside it, but not for the first letter. So here I'm printing n 2, 3, 4, 5. So here you can see testing hello 45. So we are trying to print everything. So uh, remove this one. So here you can see prevent testing hello 45. Everything which we are trying to, which we have created. So even this is a valid variable which doesn't have number at the starting. So it should start with underscore or any character. So it can have anything inside it. Basically, it can have any of your numerical digits from 0 to 9 inside it. So this is how you can basically create variables. Is this fine, or do you need any explanation on that one? Yeah, so I'll tell you the next line. So how to print in 2 lines. But before that, I want you guys to understand that you cannot every variable needs to start with characters, which is from A to Z, or capitals also, or underscore, which is this. here this is how we need to have any rules and regulation. But so I wrote something here. I wrote some information here, but if I'm trying to execute it, you won't get it because this basically I commented this part. Comment basically means the part, that particular part of program which you don't want to execute at all. I just wrote this for information purpose. So I don't want this particular line to be executed. So in those situations, you can use hashtag. So hash is thing which you need to write at the start of the line. So as soon as you write hash, it won't detect or it won't do anything with this particular line. It will ignore this line. So this is basically acting as a comment. So to show what we are doing below, or if you are trying to write an information. So this is what we need to start, and the same way we need to also alphanumeric. Alphanumeric characters, which is means A to Z and capital A to Z and on the capital letters and 0 to 9. And you can add any of your numbers as well to it. So you can use in this manner as well by adding any of your numbers later on, but not starting with the variable itself. You cannot start a variable with a number. So you need to make sure that these two other things you need to follow. So if you want to take a note of it, please take a note of it, that what all you can use. So basically this means A to Z and capital A to capital Z. Capital A to capital Z, small a to small z, and underscore. So this is basically underscore. So you can start with underscore as well. So you can use underscore as well in between the variable also. So not just at the start. So you can use NA underscore ME. So this is also will work. So here you can see Python testing hello 45. So I hope everybody is clear on this. Yeah, so it won't validate all those kind of things even if you're trying to. So instead of asking me to try it, I want you guys to try it on your own. So I'm giving only minimal information. So I want you guys to try it on these kind of things from your side as well. So if you want to use percentage and let's suppose tester. So you're already getting an error here because we usually use percentage for other operators as an operator. So right now it's treating it as an operator, and it's basically it's not a format which Python supports, that you cannot have special characters like this. So even if you're trying to save and execute it, you will get a syntax error. This basically means that this is not the syntax which Python is expecting. And in the same way, if you want to use and, so this is basically ampersand. So if you are trying to add and here, ampersand here, so it will throw an error because this and is a operator which we use later on. I'll explain you how exactly we use operator. So it won't treat this as a variable information. You cannot create variables such like that. So you need to follow only these two lines mostly. How do you create a variable? So you can start with these two, and you cannot start with a number also at all. And later on you can have numbers when you're trying to create it. And all the variables which you're trying to create, right, these are completely case sensitive. So even when you're trying to put name equal to Praveen and name equal to Rahul, let's suppose. So we'll remove this as this is not a valid one. So right now we created a name with small letters and name with capital letters. So usually, as Python is case sensitive, it doesn't recognize these two variables at one itself. So these two are different ones. If you're trying to print, so tester is the thing which we give. So we'll remove this one. So Praveen is the one which we gave. So name Praveen and capital name is Rahul. So these two are two different variables. As Python doesn't follow uh, capital or small doesn't matter, but it's basically case sensitive. It won't follow whether the variable which you are creating is in capital or small. Even if you are trying to give a capital and things, you will get the same, whatever the variable which you are trying to create. But these two will act as a different way or different variables. So you can, if you want to create multiple variables under name itself, you can basically do like this itself. NAME and things like that. So it would be easier for you to create multiple variables if you want to under one naming itself. So name is the naming which you want to create. So you can use these kind of things which you can follow. So you can add these also. Sensitive, not insensitive. So sensitive basically means it won't care about whether your variables are capital or small. So however you define it, you'll take it as a variable. So insensitive means it will take care of your variable declaration. If there is any programming language which is case insensitive, even if you're doing this or this, both are same. So Python is case sensitive. It doesn't matter whether you are creating a small letters or capital letters. So you can execute this, you will get the response. Praveen, Rahul testing hello 45, all the variables which we created. So you are getting invalid syntax for what? Which variable are you trying to create? So if you follow these three rules, you won't get any syntax error. ROO, you won't get any syntax error if you are trying to create. If I'll create here ROO and as one, which I'm putting inside ROO. So I'll print ROO as well. So class one, we are getting it. So it's not any. You cannot have space. I think you are creating space over there. So we cannot have space in between a variable because it will treat these as a two variables and you are not passing any information. So basically there is no such particular syntax that it will allow space in between a variable. So you cannot create a variable which has space inside. So you should remove space. Instead of creating giving a space, give hyphen. Which you want whenever you want to create an information, not hyphen, underscores. So even you cannot uh, create any variables with hyphens. It's not a part of syntax way where Python follows. If you want to give any separation like roll number, usually we follow roll number with a space inside. So don't give space, instead give underscore for it. Like how you are creating underscores here. So create underscore, or if you want to differentiate, maybe write with capital N, which I did previously. So basically, it's like a differentiation which we follow, but you can use underscore for it. Roll underscore number, and you can print it. So here you are getting 45. So you need to follow these three points. If you guys want to take a note of it, please take a note of it. Okay, so you gave space, that's why you're not getting it. So if anybody want to take a note of it, we'll please take a note that these 3 points are important while we are creating any or declaring any variable. Please take a note of these things, that you need to follow these 3 rules while creating any variables. Just let me know once you have taken note of it. So I'll give 2 minutes to you guys to take note of that one. Okay, so now we'll see the question which someone already asked before that. How do we print them in next line, or how do we separate those things which you are trying to put? So before going to that, I'll also mention one more thing, that instead of giving these as a comma separated, you can also do it by adding those variables. So basically we are adding these two information. So let's suppose we have we'll rename it, will be difficult for you. We have first name and last name, which is as Praveen Rahul. So I just renamed it, we'll execute it. So we are getting Praveen and Rahul. We'll also remove this which we try to create. We don't need these things. So here we are getting these things, that we are printing Praveen and Rahul and 45, which is a roll number. So if we want to add this these two strings, these two variables information into one, you can use press operator. So plus will basically concat these two variable information and print it below. So you can see Praveen Rahul 45, as there is no space. So when you are trying to give a comma separated operators to print, it will create a space from one variable to other variable. But when you are trying to print some data, some variable information, by adding a plus operator inside in between that, it will directly print whatever the information here. So it will add Praveen, and again it will take the Rahul and add those two things. So you will get R after N directly. There won't be any space. So if you want to create a space, you can directly you can add one more space here like this. So you are adding basically space to it. Here you can get Praveen Rahul 45, or maybe if you don't want like that, you can directly give space from here itself, from the variable. Again, is the same thing. Maybe you can, if you give here also, it will give one more space, Praveen double space and Rahul. So you can use in this manner. So right now we are trying to add a string and string. So what will happen if you are trying to add string to a number? So right now this is a number, which is 45. So if you are trying to add a string, so strings are these two, Praveen and Rahul. We'll differentiate by a space. If you are trying to print it, we'll get error type error. So basically we are typing something which is not exactly what Python is expecting, which is mean that you are trying to add two data types. So one data type is string, which we have here, and one more data type is integer, which is number. So we are trying to add two data types over here, which is trying to conflict and throwing us an error. So we cannot do like that. You cannot add two data types like that. Instead, you can convert one of those data types to uh, the data type which we wanted. So if we are trying to print Praveen, and if we are trying to print Rahul as well, and we want to print 45, maybe we'll try to print something like that. My name is, and we'll add first name, and we'll give a space and last name. So just forget about this one. So right now we have that my name is this and this. So when we are trying to execute, my name is Praveen Rahul. So we'll remove spaces which are there here. Remove this one as well. So we got my name is Praveen Rahul. So if we are trying to add roll number also into the print statement, so you can use comma. So comma basically doesn't, it will handle all the data types which you are trying to do or which you are trying to give. So you can do it in this way. You can add my name is Praveen Rahul 45 roll number. So when you are doing in a comma separation, it will add a space to it when you are trying to print it. But when you're not adding comma, so when you're using plus symbol, it will directly add those two strings. But if you want this roll number to be directly added to the print itself, it will throw an error. So we want to overcome this. So instead what we'll do is we'll convert this roll number into a string format, the format which we need to do. So if you want to convert this roll number to a string, you can do like this. So right now you got my name is Praveen Rahul 45. So basically you are converting that variable to a string. So that's why you are able to add information here. But my name is Rahul 45, and everything you can see it here. So we use plus operators when we are trying to add some particular information and trying to convert everything into a string. So don't worry about this thing right now. So we'll discuss much about later if you're not able to understand why you're doing it. So right now you can treat it in this way, that we are trying to add roll numbers and strings in that manner, that my name is Praveen and 45 is how we are trying to do. So I hope everything is clear till now. What if yeah, so if you are able to, or if you're able to understand how we are using less and comma under what situation, so that we'll go forward, and now we can discuss about the question that someone asked, how can we print in 2 lines. Please let me know if you have any questions, or if you're not able to do it. I'm showing also, I'm also displaying it over here. You can directly print it. So when you're trying to add two variables which is of same data type, you can do it. So data type basically means string is one data type, integer numbers means it is also one data type, like that. So when you're trying to add same data types, it doesn't matter, it will directly add it. But when you're trying to add different ones, print won't take it. You need to convert everything to one data type. So instead of converting, we are using comma. So comma will handle all those things. It will convert everything to a string and print it. So it's much easier for you to understand over here right now. It doesn't matter what kind of data type you are giving, but converting a string into a integer into a string, we'll discuss that thing little later. So I hope you guys understand it till now. Please let me know if you're having any problem understanding this one. Let me know. We can discuss it again. Please respond on the chat whether is it clear till now or not, or Do you have any problem or do you have any confusion in this? I want more responses. We need to discuss. So we need to have interaction. So if you are more interactive to me, sorry, so that even I can explain in much clear and much better way. So even I'll be having much more enthusiasm to tell more things to you guys. So right now we are trying to discuss something very smaller, understanding how exactly Python works. Later on, we'll discuss how exactly the industry is expecting from you. What kind of things are they expecting? So if you want to understand those things, you need to understand these basics. So I want everyone to be clear on these things. Please let me know that you are able to understand, or if there is any uh, confusion on creating or printing any variables here. I hope everybody is clear with when to add plus or when to add comma over here. So I think nobody says any question. So we'll move to the part where someone asks how do we print on new lines. So I want to print my name is in one line and first name is in one line and last name is in one line. So in those situations, we have few things like N and P. So N basically means to a new line. So T basically means a tab space. So when you are dealing with Python, you need to follow indentation. So indentation can be followed using tab. So there is a tab on your system. You can click on tab, so which will give some space. So this is the space which tab is created. So each tab will be of different spaces. Right now my tab space is 4. 4 basically means 4 spaces. So I gave 4 spaces, which is my tab indentation. So everybody will have some tab space. So maybe default to some space on your system specific. So if you want to print something on tab basis or next line basis, you can use N and T. So not just N, we have slash. So make sure that it is // you need to make sure whether it's this or this. So you need to give this /t and /n while you are doing it. So how do we do it? Here I wrote my name is, I want first name to be coming below of my name is. So if you want to do that, I'll give /n here. So /n basically means that after my name is, you need to start from the next line. So after going to next line, it will print first name. Again, I'll go to next line for last name. So after last name, and here you cannot pass /n's when you are doing it on comma separated values. So before that, we'll check with this one. So when you're trying to do here, you can see my name is, and it went to new line, which is /n. So here you can see /n of Praveen. Again, it went to new line, which is Rahul, 45. So here you can see that we are trying to do these things. So instead of /n, we'll put /t. /t basically means tab space. So here my tab space is 4. It will create 4 spaces in between first name and last name. So when we are trying to do it, so right now it's not my interpreter is not dealing with tab slashes, but usually in any of your ID which you are using, it will deal with all the tab spaces which you are trying to give. So if you are giving like this, it will take at 2 tab spaces. So each ID will act as a different manner. So usually you won't use any tab T's /T's anywhere. So you won't get in a situation where you need to give spaces like this. But you might get a situation where you have trying to do /n's where you need to print an information on two lines. My name is Rahul, so I'll comment this part. It's confusing to understand. So here is my name is Rahul, Praveen Rahul 45, which you are getting. But if you, so each ID will act in a different manner on treating tab slashes. How do we do it? So here I'm giving /n, which will go to a new line. So in the situation where you want roll number also be having having some going to a next line or something, you can print it on one more variable, or if you don't want to do it like that, convert that that particular variable into a string. As soon as you converted it, again it will go. My name is Praveen Rahul 45. So this is the second name which I gave. So here you can see my name is Praveen Rahul 45 and everything. So here you can see all the information that how do we or how exactly we can pass on information to one variable. That how can we print it or how can we pass information to print, how to print it if you want to separate it into a line. So that's completely a requirement which we'll see based on situation, but we usually won't get this kind of situation where we need to print, come down a little, or maybe giving a starting it from a new line. So that completely based upon your situation. You can also, so if you want to give two new lines, you can give two new lines. You want to create two new lines. So first one line it came to Praveen down, and one more line it gave created one empty new line. So which because we have two slashes over here, which will basically moving it to a next line of programming which you are trying to do. So this is on creating variables of single data type or multiple string or integer. There are much more data types we'll discuss later on. How do we deal with it or what kind of things are there. So this is basically it. And using /n or /t, we can give spacing, whether we have to go to next line or if you have to give any tab spaces and things. And this is how you have to deal with. And you have any questions on using tab spaces or things, please let me know right now. And you can also write, or you can also basically deal with tabs using end. There's a parameter called end which you can use on print statement. So right now, as soon as you see 45 here, you're getting this particular command line, the directory which you are having. But I want some more line below this. So if I want these things to be happen, so I'll give end. End basically means after executing the entire print statement, I want a /n before doing it. So in those situations, if you are trying to do it, so there is a bracket issue which I made. Here I need to pass on English here. So as I said, when you're trying to pass on information like this, each ID will follow in a different manner. But if you are trying to give two spaces, because you already gave a space and which is coming over here to a next line. Thus, this particular line is already in the next line, so it won't treat in that way. So if you are giving two slashes, which will basically mean it will go to a new line which is already there. So it will give a line of space here, and it will go to that, and it will give some line. So basically, it will create a new line when you are trying to give new two new ones. And if you want to give much more, you can also give. So based on that, it will take much more space to it. So it created this much of space based on the things which we gave. But we cannot use it. You cannot use end here because it won't take it. So it's basically complete syntax error. You can see a red line over here which is happening. So if you see this one, and if you are giving roll number here, so here you can see that there is a space here and you are getting 45. If you want to see how exactly /t is working, how exactly this thing will work. If you are going to give /t at the end, you don't go to a next line because you are overwriting the scenario which needs to happen. That instead of going to a next line, you give end as /t, which means that the next print statement which is coming up, it should have a tab space. So that's how if you want to mention anything, you can use end. So end basically will reflect on the next print statement. So how exactly the next print statement or next line which you are trying to display here, how it should reflect. So you need to deal with that. So if you want to deal with that, you can use end, or if you want to try to split down and differentiate information here itself, you can use /ns inside the plus operators, and when you are trying to concat the entire string. So this is how you do it. So this is on creating /t's and /ns, where you give spacing of the next line or spacing off of some tab spaces. So if you have any questions on this one, please let me know. Please add on chat if you have any questions on variable declaration, or how do we print it, or how do we add it, going into next line and things. I think we are already at the end of our session. So I think, yeah, so that's a good question. So this is basically, we are trying to convert, this is an integer, so it's basically a number. 45 is a number. So when you are trying to add this particular string, so this basically string data type. So when you're trying to add string with number, it will throw an error because it won't add to data types like that. So if you want to add it, you have to convert integer to string. So if you have, so how do you convert an integer to string? We'll do it in this way. So that's why we'll remove this one for now. We'll discuss how do we convert strings, or how do we convert data later. Instead of this one, I'm adding roll number for now. So later on we'll discuss how do we, or how exactly we can pass, or how exactly we can convert data types to a different one. Basically you cannot convert all data types to all. So there are multiple data types, which will take lots of time for us to discuss what kind of data types are there and things. So for now, just we'll use comma separator, where it will ignore all the data types. Whether even if you are passing any data type, it's gonna print everything as it is, however you are creating. So we'll discuss in detail about how exactly we are using str, or how do we convert any data types to different. So we'll discuss those things later on when we get the concepts of data types and things. So if you are clear on this part till now, so if you have any questions, you can ask me on how do we create any variables, or how do we pass it, or how do we print it. So we can discuss before we wind up. I think we just have 7 more minutes before we wrap our session. So before wrapping up, you can let me know whether if you have any doubts in creating variables or printing variables. So before that, I can also give you the link to install Python. So this is the link. You can go to this particular link, which will land you here. So after going, so basically instead of doing this, just follow this particular link to install Python on your Windows. I want everyone to create install Python on your laptops, so that from tomorrow we'll be having much clearer session, and everybody will have hands-on experience and parallelly doing. So right now, while I'm doing or creating these small variables, you can create much more information. Right now I'm just giving first name and roll number. You can create city and address, or maybe surname and things like that. Try to add more variables from your side and try to print it something like this, where I'm trying to give that my name is Praveen and things like that. Maybe try to create like my name is Praveen and my roll number is this. I'm from this particular of area, and maybe you can add surname as well. Maybe from which semester are you in, and maybe you can create those kind of things from your side. So if you want to explore more, you can do something like that. My name is, create a variable here as name. Maybe you can create surname, and your last name, comma in between to separate, and the roll number is, so here we'll create one more variable, roll number. We'll put full stop over here. Maybe here you can add signs in. Here you can pass section. Maybe your section will be whatever A, B, C, D, E, F, or whatever it is. You can pass section over here, and maybe you can try I stay at, and here you can pass address. So what kind of address are you from? So I'm just showing in this manner that everything which you are seeing in this place, you create it as a variable. So this less than and greater than symbol, just to show for you guys, you don't need to add these less than and greater than. You can directly use these things. If you want to copy these things, just write it out down now. So I'll also add these things here itself. So here you can see the information which you are trying to print. So maybe you can try it out from your side like this. My name is, and this one, and my roll number is this one, and I'm studying computer science in this section, and I stay at address. So in total you have surname, last name, roll number, section, and address, these 5 variables. So you can create all those 5 variables, and you can print exactly like how you want to. So if you are getting this particular string as an output like this, K Rahul, and my roll number is 34. I am studying computer science in A section. So try to put section also after this. Section basically is a string. Here you will get Hyderabad maybe. So you need to do, or you need to program in this way, and your output should be something like this. So before starting our session tomorrow, I'll be asking whether you guys were able to do something like this or not. So if you are able to try it out and get this particular thing, just pass your code on the chart tomorrow so that I'll evaluate and see whether how exactly you are able to understand. So based on that, even I also know that who are trying to understand, who are trying to learn. So even if you feel that programming is much difficult, Python will take care of that, because everything is in much simpler terms. You don't need to remember much of the things here. So print is basically basic word which you use to print something. If you want to take a printout of something, we say print as a normal word to take a print. So here also print as a normal word which will print the information on your command prompt which you are trying to do. So please take a note of this one if you guys want to, or maybe if you want to take the entire one, if you want to take a picture of it, please take it. But if you guys were try to do this one, try to get the output of this particular line.
ట్రైన్లో పోతే 2 రోజులు వాళ్ళ ఖాళీ నుంచి అడిగి మళ్ళీ ఆ నుంచి 2 రోజులు మాకు అన్ని రోజులు లీవ్ ఇయ్యాలి.
Huh? Yeah, so you can create this particular line of code using Python programming. So if you have any questions, we can discuss on this particular line tomorrow. But I want you guys to try it from your side, so when I can also see it tomorrow. So that's all for today. So if you have any questions, please add it on the chart right now, so that we can discuss about it. And if you want to copy this part, you can copy it right now. Or if you have any questions, please let me know on the chat. If you have any doubts, please add it on the chat. I'll be waiting for it. I'd love to uh, solve all your problems or anything which you are facing regarding that. Please add it on the chart whether you are feeling it okay, or if you are facing any issue while creating or trying to print it. Please let me know on the chat, so that even also I'll understand that you guys are very interactive, or maybe even I'll get more energy to teach you much more. So please try this out. I'm adding it on the chat as well. If you want to copy it, you can copy it as well. Try these things as a program from your side, so that we can discuss it from tomorrow. How can we do it or things, and if anybody can do it from your side to create variables and print the below statement by writing it as a program, then that would be wonderful. So based on what we can see, who are able to learn or understand Python much more than everybody. So I want you guys to try it out and come back tomorrow by writing some part of code. If you want to copy, I just add it on the chart. Please copy it from the chart. If you have any questions, please add it on the chart so that we can discuss. I'm giving you a minute to copy it, or if you want to ask any questions, you can ask me. I'll be waiting for it. I hope everything is clear to you guys. If you have any questions, please add it to the chat. I don't see any responses saying whether it is okay or not. If you have any questions, I want you guys to ask more questions so that we can interact more and learn more, not just wrapping our sessions or just joining the calls every day. I guess there are no doubts. If you want to copy this one, I'll just give you a minute to copy the above one, which you need to do it as a program. If you want from your side as a session, or maybe a practice one till tomorrow's class. I think that's all for today. So thank you for joining. So we'll continue our session on discussing more on variables, and we'll go to data types and things from tomorrow. Thank you everyone. So let's meet tomorrow. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.